Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Kate Bush's 1982 album. It's called The Dreaming, so that's coming up. Singer-songwriter, producer, musician, dancer, pop icon Kate Bush released an album in 1982, the 13th of December to be exact. It's called The Dreaming, and this is the first album that actually got me into Kate Bush in the first place. I've listened to many of their singles. They're great. They're a bit weird, or at least I thought they were a bit weird when I first heard them on the radio, but as I'm a big fan of progressive music, of artsy music, avant-garde music, I really love this album so much. She has been giving us some more mainstream material, mainstream singles such as Wuthering Heights, The Man with the Child in His Eyes, Babushka, and many more in addition to that. And this album right here, The Dreaming, is probably the least conventional album of her whole career. But because it is so unique, because it is so special and weird in a way, it has actually gained a special place in many people's hearts. Now, just to talk a little bit about her background story, when she grew up, she listened to the music that her brothers introduced to her, such as Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd, King Crimson. And talking about Pink Floyd, David Gilmour was actually the person that got Kate Bush into the music industry in the first place. He was the guy who actually, I think they had a friend in common, and then they contacted each other one day. So she started recording some singles, some material back when she was like 16 years old. She had written hundreds of songs already. So from a very early age, she showed an amazing potential, a beautiful voice, a beautiful way of expressing herself through lyricism, and eventually also through dance. She met this guy called Lindsay Kemp. He was a really famous dancer at that time, choreographer, and he was actually the mentor of David Bowie previously, and now he was also going on to teach Kate Bush how to dance. And this was something that very easily floated together with the rest of her performance art, with her singing, with her lyricism, her dance. Every single part of her art form beautifully came together in a way through live performances as well. Now, anyways, enough about the background story. Let's talk about The Dreaming. This is an album that just is overflowing with musical textures, tones, and fantasy from a whole other level of creativity. This is the fourth studio album that she released, and she basically produced the whole thing herself. There are some meticulously thought out sounds and recording procedures on this album. You will hear didgeridoos, helicopter blades rotating, she is imitating animals. She's really stretching her creativity to the utmost boundaries, and that is what I felt when I listened to this album. It is something that is very artistically dense. When I was going to start writing the lyrics, not the lyrics, but the script for this review, I had no idea where to start, so I had to just pick a place. I started in the middle of the album, started to write about the songs. Man, just expressing myself about this album, what it sounds like, what it means to me, is so odd and so weird, because the album is odd and weird and better than most albums that I've heard these days. But anyways, let's get into some of the tracks nonetheless, okay? Sat on Your Lap, that is the first track off of this album, and man, being one of the singles off of this album, it's actually quite an unconventional track. I mean, imagine hearing this on the radio.
I see the people working and see it working for them, and still I'm entertaining.
On this track, you will instantly notice that you'll hear this whipping percussion going on, and that is actually a bamboo cane that they were just like hitting with in front of a microphone. If that is not original, then I don't know what is. This song is really rapid. It has this very fast pacing percussion going on in the background. Then you have this quirky, all kinds of quirky sounds on this track as well, on top of the percussion and the melody. The melody has this quirky piano and horn synth thing. I know it's hard to explain this. And all the instruments seem to have a very hard time keeping up with Bush's intensity, because Bush's singing style and her overall intensity, her animation when it comes to her vocal delivery is just so out there that it just, I could just listen to her voice and it would be just as good as listening to all the instrumentals going on in the background. I want to talk about the 5th track. It's called Leave It Open. There are so many things that I can start with when it comes to this track. You know, there's effects, sounds, moods, lyrics, instruments. I guess I'll just have to start somewhere. The lyrics. So I'm gonna read you a short snippet here. With my ego in my gut, my babbling mouth would wash it up. But now I've started learning how I keep it shut. It seems like she is describing herself and how she is kind of locking her senses, her mind, her ego, her vision. She wants to lock it down for some reason. Maybe because she is afraid of the outside environment. Maybe because she's been hurt sometime, I don't know. Eventually, if you read the lyrics, it seems like she is reacting to the environment in a different way. She's starting to learn that being open is just as good or as bad as being locked down. It's a very self-reflective lyricism here, and it's kind of open-minded as well. This is just my take on it. I think there are so many ways of interpreting this. And just imagine, like, you're listening to this and you hear Kate Bush's vocal delivery and you hear her flangery filter. There's this flangery filter on top of her voice. She is singing like a ghost or something. You just have to listen to this. It sounds like an alien has made this. And it's a genius alien, I have to tell you. The cadence of the song is actually intensifying as it progresses throughout the track. And then Bush also provides some screams in the background, which again just gives you goosebumps. Some of the sounds, like production-wise, are also quite neatly put together here. There were actually a couple of times when I listened to this, for maybe it was the first or the second time I listened to it, and there was this one sound that I listened to that almost sounded like it came from another room. It didn't come from my earphones, so I took out my earphones and I was like, where is that sound coming from? And I put them in again and oh shit, that's a good illusion. That was a very oddly mixed sound that actually sounded like it came from another place. So there's layers, there's depth to the production here. Now when it comes to the topics of these songs as well, they are kind of odd. There's this one song called The Dreaming, the title track of this album. It's the 6th track. It is a song that discusses the destruction of Aboriginal homelands by white people who are looking for uranium for weapons. Her vocals extend, bend, contract, and she's kind of creating this whole world by simply using her voice. There's also some very impressive sounds going on here. There's a didgeridoo, there are some sheep noises, there's a lot of things going on again, creating this kind of ominous and dark soundscape.
Mistaken for a tree.
Screeching car tires, rapid breathing. It almost sounds like this song here could have come from a movie. It sounds like an imaginary world, and I think it fits so well together with the title, you know, The Dreaming. It sounds like a dream. It sounds like you're not only listening to a song here, you're actually listening to actual events. Now, I can go on forever and talking about all the songs on this album. I actually liked all of them. I personally prefer some of the first 5 tracks, so the first 5, like first half of the album. That is my personal favorite, simply because my taste when it comes to music is a bit refined, I think. I don't want to brag or anything, but I kind of like music that is a bit intensive, that is I like soundscapes that have a lot of things going on. And for me, those 5 first tracks, those are the tracks that you're listening to if you want that type of stuff. Get Out of My House, Houdini, Night of the Shadow, All the Love. These are tracks at the end. Some of these are quite calm. But you have occasional outbreaks of rage and sorrow and basically everything from the soundscape and also from Kate Bush's vocal delivery. So again, there's a lot of things to take here, but I personally like the first part of the album better, simply because it was more intensive, it was much more dense and experimental, at least in my view. So let's get to it here, guys. What am I gonna give this album here? Kate Bush, The Dreaming, 1982 album. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10 because this is something that I fell in love with instantly. It is something that I'm going to listen to over and over and over again because there's always something new to discover here, it seems like. This is an album made by a beautiful creature, a beautiful human being. Also, she has like sort of an alien mind. I don't think there will ever be an artist like her. Like the closest thing that I've heard to her is probably Bjork or maybe Death Grips. Something along those artists, and you don't find those types of artists very often, so that is the reason why I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10. This is something completely unique of its own. Great avant-garde pop music, great baroque pop, whatever you want to call it. Go and check it out, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. Yeah, hell yeah. Maybe I should just start talking like this all the time, you know? No, I don't think I should. I don't think I should.